Horns up and welcome to Headbanger's Kitchen. Folks, you all know that I love beef. And look, I like a good steak as much as the next guy. But have you tried beef shanks? Ooh yeah! Beef shanks are my new favorite cut and I love to eat them. And today I'm going to show you how to cook them perfectly using the Instant Pot. And we're also going to make two delicious recipes. One of them is going to be a delicious sandwich filling using the beef shanks, and the other one a weeknight dinner, a Korean style beef curry. And that's not all, folks. I'm going to have my wife and my dad on the show to taste test both the dishes. Anyway, that's been enough jibber jabber. Let's get cooking. For this recipe, folks, I've got boneless beef shanks and you can buy it with the bone in and cook it no problem. Beef shanks are a slow cooking cut of meat and they have a lot of fat and connective tissue that needs some time to break down. I'm also going to be using dried shiitake mushrooms and you'll see why in just a minute. These are great for building flavor and you can buy them in most Asian grocery stores or online. This is how they look out of the packet, and normally you soak them in water, but I'll just be washing them. You can see how it looks now after I've washed it. I add my beef shanks into my Instant Pot along with some of those mushrooms. I season it with salt. I add in some whole peppercorns and 2 bay leaves. Now this is our basic flavor profile, but you can really go to town with this, adding onions, garlic, etc. To this I add half a liter of water and then I put the lid on the Instant Pot. I turn the pressure knob to the sealing position and then I pressure cook on high pressure for 50 minutes. You will find all the exact measurements and cooking time on headbangerskitchen.com along with a cooking option if you don't have an Instant Pot. After 50 minutes, just let it naturally release till that pressure indicator drops and then it's safe to open it. Once you take the lid off, that's it. Your beef shanks are cooked and ready to use. You've also got an epic and delicious beef stock. If you use shanks with the bone, well, then you've got bone broth. Now I fish out the pieces of meat first and be gentle because they are going to be fall apart tender. And then I fish out the mushrooms. And look at those mushrooms, how gorgeous do they look. But look at the star of the show, my friends. That beef is ridiculously tender. Now look, don't take my word for it. You can use a spoon and cut through the beef. That's how tender it is. I'm going to take a moment and savor that tenderness. Then I strain the liquid that was in the Instant Pot and there you have the most flavorful and delicious beef stock. Now folks, we're ready to make some epic meals. We've got beautiful shiitake mushrooms, melt in your mouth, tender beef that you can cut with a spoon, and a flavorful beef stock. But now it's time to cook some dishes. First up, we're going to make an epic sandwich filling using the shanks and of course make a sandwich with that filling. I start by slicing up some red onions and notice how I'm cutting it. This is called the saute slice or slicing with the grain. This is my preferred way of cutting onions for things these days. Next up, it's a green bell pepper that I'm going to slice into strips. I love green bell peppers paired with onions and beef. You can of course use red or yellow peppers if you like, or you can even skip them if you're not a fan. Time to slice up our mushrooms, and you want to remove the stalk of the mushroom because that's chewy and not pleasant to eat. So remove that stalk and then slice the mushrooms, or well, slice the mushrooms and then remove the stalk, but basically get rid of it. And finally, I chop some fresh parsley, but as always, cilantro, chives and even spring onions work just as well. Now I get my pan on the stove and I add in some olive oil, and once that is getting hot, I add in my onions and I saute them. Once you have some color on the onions, add in the mushrooms and saute those as well. Then in goes my beef and I give it all a good mix. And now you can see the beef is so tender it just falls apart. It's not like I need to chop it or anything before I add it to the pan. If you look at the pan now, you can see I've got some good fond, that's the color at the bottom of the pan. So I deglaze it now with some beef stock. And I give it all a good mix and I scrape that fond from the bottom. That's all flavor right there. And now just let it cook. I'm going to add in my bell peppers, and the reason I added them now was because I didn't want them to overcook. I wanted them to have some texture when I eat them. Anyway, season this now with salt, pepper, paprika and some garlic powder. Give it a good mix now and hang tight because it's about to get really cheesy. I add in some cream cheese and then a whole lot of good cheddar cheese. Of course, you can use any cheese you like. Now what's going to happen is that cream cheese is going to melt and so is the cheddar cheese, and they are going to meet that beef stock and make friends and become an epic cheesy sauce that coats all the beef and onions and peppers. Now cook this till it's as wet or dry as you want it to be. Then finish it with the fresh parsley. And of course give it a customary final good mix and turn off the heat. And just look at that beef. It's like a pulled beef mixture that's gonna make the most epic sandwich ever. Whoo yeah! To make my sandwich, I will be using a Vietnamese style baguette, but you can use any bread that you like. My keto fam, I got you covered. Use a keto bread recipe. I've got many of them on the channel. I cut that baguette right down the middle and I do a terrible job of it. But it doesn't matter. Now my trick for sandwiches is always to scoop out some of the bread so that you can have more filling in the sandwich. So I do that. And now I fill up that sandwich real good. I stuff that sandwich with my meat mixture and then I sprinkle on some fresh parsley and a little cheese for decorative purposes. I even take it a step further and add some jalapenos for the photographs because you know I'm a spice wuss, I'm not really going to eat the jalapenos. Anyway, my epic beef shank sandwich is ready. It really is a thing of beauty. I mean, just look at it. What a great looking sandwich. Of course, I got to cut into the sandwich and show you a cross section because I'm not a cruel, heartless person. I'm here to spread joy and love for good food. Anyway, enough jibber jabber. Time to taste. Alright folks, let's taste that delicious beef sandwich that we've made, and look who's joining me. It's my beautiful wife, Dipti.
Who hasn't flown the coop.
Yes, most of you probably don't know what she's talking about, but anyway, Dipti, are you ready to taste?
Yeah.
Alright, let's dig in.
So what is this?
This is a beef shank sandwich.
So not a banh mi.
No, it's not a banh mi. We're just using a baguette and...
It's a Vietnamese baguette on the outside.
Yes, correct. So it's a Vietnamese baguette. All those on keto will use keto bread. Yeah, dig in. Cheers. Mmm. Oh. Mm.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. You know what this is?
What?
The moist maker.
The moist maker. Oh yeah. And that's the reason I kept some of the juices with the beef, because that juice soaks into the bread and it's just amazing.
The beef is fall apart tender. It is juicy. It's so good.
It's actually my dinner and I'm eating it now.
Is this my dinner too?
No, your dinner is separate. This is my dinner.
Oh damn. I think I should give this back to him now.
No, eat it. Anyway, obviously Dipti likes the
Moist maker.
Moist maker, that's what we're going to call it now, and gives it the horns up. And I guess I will see you, well, for the next dish.
I hope you have more dinner.
I do. Alright, see you later. Alright guys, look who's here to taste. It's miso, and at Dipti's insistence. To see if he likes the beef.
How's this?
I think.
Oh yeah, I think he likes it. Miso, do you give it the horns up? Do you give it the horns up? I think so. Yeah, it definitely does.
Okay, so miso has given it the horns up. See you around. Now it's time to make dish number 2 with the beef shanks. My perfect weeknight dinner, a Korean style beef curry. We start by slicing some onions, once again cutting with the grain, saute style, just like this. Next, I chop some carrots into little quarters. First I cut the carrot in half, then I stand it up, slice right through it, then cut it into quarters. I think about 2 carrots should be enough for this recipe. On to the potatoes, and you cut this into cubes as well, because if they are too big they will take very long to cook. Also, I mean, who wants a big mouthful of potato? Nice small bite-sized pieces. And if you are keto, skip the potatoes, you can use cauliflower since, well, cauliflower is the new potato. Then I take my mushrooms and I slice them up. Remember to cut out the stalk because it's not fun to eat. And then I take my beef shank, which was in the fridge by the way, so it's more solid now, and I'm just gonna cut it into nice big pieces for the stew. For the curry itself, I'm going to be using a Korean curry paste. This comes in packets or in the form of cubes and it's got everything you need, including starches to thicken the curry. If you don't want to use this, just regular curry powder will also work. But of course you won't have the thickness, so it'll be a thinner stew. To this curry powder, I'm going to add some water and mix everything well. This basically just makes it easier to incorporate into the curry. It's about equal parts of water to curry powder. Time to put the pan on the stove and heat up some olive oil. Then add in the onions and start to saute them. Just cook the onions till they start to get some color and go brown on the edges. Then add in the mushrooms to the pan, give it all a good mix and saute that as well. Then in go my potatoes and cook that for a minute as well. Just let the onions, mushrooms and potatoes get together and partay. Then I add in some of the beef stock. Now the potatoes are going to cook in that beef stock and they are going to have that extra beefy flavor. For my keto friends, the cauliflower will do the same thing. Anyway, I bring this up to a boil, I turn the heat to medium and I cover it and cook till the potatoes are done. This should take about 5 to 6 minutes. Of course, if you have left big huge pieces of potato, it'll take longer. Halfway through the cooking process, I open it up and now I add in my carrots. Because I don't know about the rest of the world, but in India at least, carrots take less time to cook than the potatoes. Which is why I added them in later. So that I don't have a smushy carrot. I want a tender carrot, not a smushy carrot. Anyway, cover it and let it cook. After about 6 minutes, it's time to check the potatoes, so just run a fork or a spoon through it and if it cuts through like butter, that means it's cooked and ready. Now it's time to add in our curry mixture and give it all a good mix. And just look at that curry. How thick and delicious does it look? It's time to add in our beef to the curry and just gently mix it in. You don't want to violently smash it around because that beef is so tender it'll just turn into pulled beef. So gently mix it in. You want to now heat this up till the beef is warm and you'll be done. If the curry looks and feels too thick, you can add some water and make it as thick or thin as you like, and that's pretty much it, folks. The curry is ready, and once it starts bubbling, you can turn off the heat and just look at it. It's awesome. I'm going to serve myself some curry on a bed of rice because I'm not on keto, but keto fam, I got you covered. Use cauliflower rice instead. And then just for the photos, I sprinkle on some parsley. Now normally they don't put any greens on this curry. Like if you look for a photo of Korean curry, there's no green stuff on it. But I'm going to take a spoon and dig in now. That meat comes apart like butter. But look, enough of this food porn, it's time to taste. Alright folks, it's time to taste the Korean beef curry and look who's back, it's my dad.
I'm back like a bad penny. I keep coming back. I can't wait for these opportunities. Pardon the scruffy look.
Yes.
Wasn't enough time to get ready for this taste.
And pardon the infernal racket that you can hear. There's construction noises on this side, there's construction noises on this side, somebody's playing music on the loudspeaker that side. So anyway, we're gonna taste and...
It's called city living. You better get used to it.
You never had this much noise in the old house.
Okay, so guys, there is this amazing thing that looks like a complete meal to me. They're chunks of beef which are...
Beef, mushroom, potato, carrot.
I mean, you don't even need a knife, just a spoon, and here it comes off.
I love...
There is carrot and there is mushroom.
I love it. I love Korean curry. I've been eating this for a while. And you don't know the story behind this though.
What mushroom is this?
These are shiitake mushrooms.
Shiitake mushroom.
But there's a hilarious story behind this curry.
Tell me the story, I'm eating.
The guy who lived in this house before us, who was a Korean, who went to Korea and never came back, left a packet of Korean curry powder.
Oh.
And it was like a 1 kilo bag, and I've been eating it ever since we moved in. But yeah, it's awesome. It's like you just curry powder with...
See, moving out of your parents' house has some advantages. You find stuff like this. Now there's potato, there's rice, there's a nice thick curry.
So do you like it?
I love it. I'm going to call home and say I'm out for lunch.
Awesome.
Lunch.
So I guess my father has given it the horns up. And I will see you on the next episode of Headbangers Kitchen. Until then, cheers and keep cooking.
Thumbs up, hands up, whatever. I need to eat.
I'm listening. I'm shooting. Okay, let's do this. Off. Coffee machine now. Amazing. One noise stops, the other one starts. Horns up and welcome to a brand new episode of Headbangers Kitchen. Folks, you know that I love my beef. And look, I like steak as much as the next guy. But have you ever tried beef shanks? And now my phone is ringing. Me. Miso? Why are you making noise now? Alright, let's do this. Horns up and welcome to a brand new episode of Headbangers Kitchen. Folks, my dog is barking now. Then there's some guy drilling there. Earlier there was some music being played on the loudspeaker. I'll be right back once I sort this out. And now my wife is talking, huh?